Oh, baby, we got big news today, folks. 222 Rodwood Drive is retiring.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We got ourselves a Wednesday edition, everybody, of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And yes, on the number one sports podcast network, Matt Dery with you. My goodness gracious, Rod Wood, 11 years as Lions team president, the proprietor of 222 Rodwood Drive. Shout out to Turner Batdorf, who got me this sign many years ago. Yes, Rod is retiring at the start of the season. We will discuss coming up momentarily. Also, the Green Bay Packers have an opening for an assistant coach position, and it would not surprise me if one of the Lions assistants is poached for that job. We will explain coming up momentarily. Also, Aiden Hutchinson, a stumping for Al-Quadin Muhammad. Very vocal about wanting to keep AQM around. We will get into that. And we need to do a clarification about Terrion Arnold. There was a story that broke on ProFootballTalk.com, and John Macaroon at Lions SI did a follow-up on this from a story in Tampa Bay in regards to Terrion Arnold. We will get into that momentarily as well. Here on Locked On Lions Wednesday edition, Justin Rogers, Detroit Football Network, is going to join us tomorrow. Locked On Lions today brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Hold it up, baby. Hold up the sign for those of you watching on YouTube. Yes, it's no more. We're dumping it. 222 Rodwood Drive is going to be done at the start of the season. Yes, the big news today, the team president and occasional, he took some heat on this show. Occasional Locked On Lions whipping boy, Rod Wood, after 11 years as team president of your Detroit Lions, is indeed retiring. Announcement made today by the team, quote, "I want to thank the Ford family and ultimately Lions fans everywhere for trusting me to lead the Detroit Lions for the last 11 seasons. It's been an absolute thrill for me to lead this organization. And I am proud for what we have accomplished over that decade plus. I am most proud of where I am leaving this organization, the capable hands of Sheila Hamp, Brad Holmes, and Dan Campbell." Lions announced that they will hunt for Wood's replacement, and they are using an executive search firm, Russell Reynolds and Associates. It's going to be a global search, and Wood will stay with the team up until his successor is picked before the 2026 season. If you recall, Rod Wood was named team president back in 2015. This was when we were on the air at Detroit Sports 105.1. A few weeks after the Lions relieved then team president Tom Lawand of his duties during the Lawand-Mayhew bludgeoning. Wood basically was the CEO of Ford Estates, and he advised the Ford family on all of their business, bean counting, and other things. My favorite part of Rod Wood and why I always kind of poked fun at him is that Rod Wood, when he became team president, a lot of people went, oh my God, typical Ford family, typical Lions. They're going to hire their accountant to run the football team, right? And Rod Wood publicly said when he took the job, I don't know enough about football. I'm staying out of football. But yet notoriously for years, Wood would meddle with football, including pissing off Calvin Johnson in the infamous hallway retirement and sitting in the draft room next to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and high-fiving and hugging. Yet, for the most part, Rod Wood did a good job. All right. He helped bring the draft to Ford Field 2 years ago and Detroit. Not Ford Field, but Campus Marshes. He's bringing the Final Four, helping bring the Final Four to Ford Field next season, 2027. And in a year that many people feel will be Tom Izzo's last at Michigan State. He helped hire Dan Campbell. He helped bring in Chris Spielman. He helped hire Brad Holmes. For the most part, despite all the 2-2-2 jokes, all right, Rod Wood did a decent job. Meddling with football was unnecessary at the beginning. He was the reason Calvin Johnson was livid with the organization for his infamous line that Dave Burkett reported many years ago. Did you earn all of your bonus? To which Calvin went, screw this organization. And Calvin basically was gone for a while. Rod Wood was behind all of that. Now they have kissed and made up. Obviously, that Calvin is back with the organization, and all is well that ends well. But Rod Wood is leaving, and the Lions are looking for his replacement. Now, I know they're doing a national search and a global search with this Russell Reynolds Associates, but I'm here to tell you right now, the Lions have a very, very good in-house candidate if they want to do that, and that's Allison Maki. Allison is, and I don't know Allison well, but anybody I talk to within the organization all says they love Allison Maki. She's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. She's been there like 22 years, okay, and is extremely popular in the building. She is the Chief Financial and Administrative Officer, just to make that clear. And plenty of people that I know with the Lions really like Allison. So I know some people will bring up Mike Disner's name as a possible candidate here. Mike Disner, of course, being the current Lions Chief Operating Officer. But Disner does a lot with the cap. He does a lot on the football side. And he just recently interviewed for the president job with the Atlanta Falcons, only, of course, to lose out to Matt Ryan. So if Disner wants to stay in football, I don't know if he would be interested in this job. He might be. I don't know. But it would not surprise me if Allison Maki got a good long look. And let's be honest, too. Sheila Ford Hamp has done one thing, has done a lot of things very well as owner. Another thing that she's done very well is that she has hired some really good people, both inside and outside the organization, to come in. And she's hired plenty of women in high spots within the organization. Allison Maki would fit that bill to become president. She's been there 22 years and is pretty well liked. So now here's the big question, and this is the most important thing. All right. When I was at Detroit Sports 105.1 and when I started this very podcast, Locked On Lions, in 2016, we've been doing it for 10 years. I used to refer to 222 Rotunda Drive, or the Lions practice facility, as 222 Keenest Drive, in honor of one William Keenest, Bill, legendary Lions PR man. We had Bill on the show. I want to say a year ago when Bill went into the Hall of Fame, we had him on. I could get Bill on to talk about Rod. That would be short. That would be a short conversation. Rod let Bill go. So I used to refer to it as 222 Keenest Drive. Then when Rod really started running the show and broomed Keenest out, among other people that Rod Wood did let go in that building, that's a fact. I then started referring to it as 222 Rod Wood Drive. Our man Turner Batdorf gave me the sign. I got T-shirts printed from our friends. So, you know, what do I call the facility now? It's got to be 222 something. So if you're on the YouTube page, or you're on our social media or Facebook or anything else at Locked On Lions, or even hit me up at Dery Speaks, what should we rename this thing? It was 222 Keenest Drive for a long time. Then it's been 222 Rod Wood Drive for at least 9 or 10 years. That's what I've referred to it as, because he was the big boss man there. So I think 222's got to be renamed, don't you think? I can't just call it 222 Rod Wood Drive. He's retiring. So we'll have to see. Questionable Tees is the one that got us the Rod Wood Drive shirts. Shout out to our folks over there. It's going to be interesting without Rod. By the way, hello, Megan Brown, one of our everyday listeners, her friends Sarah Harvey and Jen, big Lions fans. Got to give a shout out to them here. And we'll tell you about our Everydayer Club coming up next. Please join us with that, as well as get into some football stuff. Jett Modkins is a name to keep an eye on in Green Bay. I will explain next right here on Locked On Lions. And the podcast today is proudly brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. Tax season is here and it doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. For limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for only $150 all in. That's if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate, get back to your life by visiting turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. And got to give a shout out to our everydayers, the Locked On Lions listeners that make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. And if you're an everydayer and you love the show daily, we're on 5 days a week, please join us in our Locked On Lions Everydayer Club at lockedonlions.supercast.com. Offseason might be here, but we're rolling every day. We're talking Lions on our Discord server. We're on Discord and we're chatting, and that's for everydayers only. And if you sign up for our Everydayer Club, you'll also get an ad-free version of the show, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, or whatever. All right, so just go to lockedonlions.supercast.com. All right, so the legendary one, yes, the most hated man in Detroit sports, Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers, is among a few people that threw this out there on the interwebs today, and that is the Green Bay Packers need and are looking for a new special teams coach. And if you're Packers fans, you're happy because Rich Bisaccia, over the last 2 years, the Green Bay Packers special teams were absolutely horrible. And as you know, this year, Brandon McManus missed some very big field goals in the playoff game against the Bears. And really, the Packers special teams has needed a boost. They've not been good. And so Peter Bukowski is among those that in articles written today too in Green Bay about Rich Bisaccia's replacement. He has stepped down, by the way. Bisaccia, of course, was an interim head coach of the Raiders. He's a legendary special teams coach, but the Packers are looking for a new one now because Bisaccia has just decided to walk away. Well, one name that has come up that is out there in circles is Jett Modkins, who has been the Lions' assistant special teams coach for the last 5 years. He's been with Dan Campbell from the beginning. He's done a really good job. A month ago, he was up for the Tampa Bay Bucks special teams spot and interviewed with them back in January. And he works really well with Dave Phipp and the Lions special teams over the last handful of years under the tutelage of Phipp and Modkins have been really good. We talk about all the time. And I know this year the Lions special teams dipped a little bit. They were still top 10 though in DVOA, and Jett Modkins is a guy that I think will be on Green Bay's radar, which would suck because certainly we don't want to help the Packers out in terms of upgrading their staff. But man, Green Bay special teams, especially in that Bears game. I mean, the returns they allowed, the missed field goals with McManus, everything else. It was kind of a bleep show this year. And Packer fans are like beside themselves. They're like all happy that Rich Bisaccia is gone. Now, again, great dude. I know, beloved around the league, and probably should have been the Raiders head coach years ago when he was the interim and they didn't keep him around. Obviously, they've had a cavalcade of different head coaches. I mean, Antonio Pierce was there 1 year. Pete Carroll was there 1 year. So keep an eye on that, and Jett Modkins possibly getting an opportunity to at least interview and talk to the Green Bay Packers. Article in the Free Press by Dave Burkett the other day that I forgot to, and that is Aiden Hutchinson spoke at the Pro Bowl games about the Lightning, his friend, and the edge rusher opposite of him, Al-Quadin Muhammad, this offseason. We are less than 3 weeks away from free agency. All right. It's coming. March 9th at noon. And I'm not so sure that a guy like Al-Quadin Muhammad, who did have an 11 sack season, will be, one of the first to sign somewhere else or even re-sign with the Lions. But Aiden Hutchinson told Daybreak Head of the Free Press, quote, I've never really texted Brad Holmes, but I might. Because there are some guys that are up for contracts this year that are not only great players, but have gotten to know them really well. Like Anzo, Alex Anzalone, Quan, Al-Quadin Muhammad, guys like that, Roy, Reeder. I mean, all those guys, I've built a great relationship with them over the years. Then he went on to say that Quan, Al-Quadin Muhammad, of course, played in all 17 games this year, career high 11 sacks, 20 quarterback hits. He and Aiden Hutchinson were only one of three sets of teammates with double-digit sacks. The Texans, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and the Saints, Cam Jordan and Chase Young. Hutchinson went on to say, Quan did it inside, he did it outside. Really, if teams are looking for that, or Brad, if we need more of that, that's just my claim to get Al-Quadin back. Maybe that's that. End quote. Lions were 20th against the pass this year and 22nd in points allowed. They need all the help they can get at edge rusher to disrupt the quarterback. And we've talked about this on this show forever about bringing in an edge rusher to put opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Now, the biggest knock on Al-Quadin Muhammad, and we've talked about this on the program too, is he's just not good against the run. And he only played in 40% of the defensive snaps this year. Now, again, played in every game, had 11 sacks. All right. If we said at the start of last year, with all the bitching and moaning that I did, that you did, that we all did, about Brad Holmes saying, we're good when it came to the edge rusher room. They brought Al-Quadin Muhammad back last year on a one-year deal. They re-signed Marcus Davenport. They had guys like O'Connor and Pascal and others that they felt could fill in and do the job. All right. And last year, despite the fact that Hutchin and Al-Quadin each had double-digit sacks, there were games last year where we talked about it. The quarterback has too much time to throw. There's not enough disruption in the backfield. And yesterday I went over that list of the top 50 NFL free agents at ESPN.com, and Matt Bowen, the author, took that list and said best fits for every free agent. And the one free agent he put on the Detroit list was the 38th ranked free agent, Joey Bosa, who is a year or two older than Al-Quadin. Muhammad is 31. I believe Bosa is 33. Joey Bosa had 5 sacks last year. Muhammad had 11. And I know it's not all about sacks, but you want to retain good players. And for the Lions, especially on defense, you want to bring back the guys that can play a little bit. I'm not telling you to re-sign them all. All right. I think Alex Anzalone is gone. I think Amik Robertson is gone. And I'm all for keeping as many of them as possible. They're good. I really think Amik Robertson should be back. But I think he's going to get a starting spot somewhere where he's not just playing nickel or inside or nickel or dime or whatever. But Al-Quadin Muhammad is an interesting case. If Aiden Hutchinson were to text Brad Holmes or whatever he said and say, look, we got to keep him, I think that would have some weight. But it's all going to come down to at noon on Monday, March 9th, if somebody throws a bag of cash at AQM and says, we're going to go out and give a guy a 2-year, maybe even 3-year deal. I don't know if he'll get that. He only played 40% of the snaps. It's not just against the pass. You got to play the run too. But he gets home. Good teammate. And he's been given the Lions they gave him a hometown discount last year. But Detroit unearthed him. All right. He had been bouncing around different teams, the Colts and other teams' practice squads, and he found a home here. But he may be demanding years and money that the Lions are not interested in doing. And the Lions might be saying to themselves at 17, we're taking an edge rusher, and damn it, that guy's going to be on the field. Well, if that guy's going to be on the field, and so is Aiden Hutchinson, Al-Quadin coming off the bench, probably not what Muhammad's thinking right now. It depends. So interesting comments from Hutch at the Pro Bowl games a couple weeks ago. And Dave put that article out on the Free Press that he would text Brad Holmes, possibly, to keep a guy like Muhammad around, who they were in the edge rusher and defensive line room together every day. And Hutchinson wants him back. I just don't know if that's reality. You've got other guys you got to bring back. Rocky Yassin, I think, is a good 1-year piece again. Avonte Maddox brought a lot of depth to that secondary room, and with question marks about the health of Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, that's a guy to re-up, but you can't re-sign everybody. So we'll have to wait and see. But Muhammad, yeah, he'd be tops on my list of a guy to bring back. Don't think Reader's going to be back. Don't think Anzalone's going to be back. I don't think Robertson's going to be back. I think there's a chance, if the Muhammad market is a little bit light early, that the Lions do, in fact, bring Al-Quadin back. We are back after this. And as always, our Locked On Lions are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you that chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. What if the Pistons make it? You'd be flying out of Oklahoma City to see our Stones take on SGA. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title that adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so you always dread stories like this, and I've got to get into it because it did make Pro Football Talk earlier today. And it's slow news cycle right now, so sometimes this happens. But Terrion Arnold was in the news earlier today, and I got a couple of texts from some friends about it. Pro Football Talk had put a story out there that 2 men were arrested down in Tampa for armed robbery and kidnapping in a connection with an apparent attempt to recover property that had been stolen from a home rented by Terrion Arnold, Lions cornerback. The missing items included high-end bags, guns, a cell phone, $100,000 in cash. 3 men allegedly were lured to an apartment by 2 women, at which time 2 men allegedly beat them up and held them at gunpoint. All right, so the report went on to say from a Florida TV station, as it was also in Pro Football Talk, that there were ties to Terrion Arnold despite just this house that he had rented. The detective reportedly testified first that one of the men involved in the kidnapping was part of the Terrion Arnold security team, and another guy, and I'm not mentioning the names of people, was supposed to be Terrion Arnold's cousin. Now, today, Fox 13 News in Tampa reporting, quote, a representative for Terrion Arnold has responded and clarified that neither of the 2 men was either a security guard for Terrion nor his cousin at all. In court today, the defense argued that the alleged victims did not have proper credibility and the alleged assailants did not have any prior criminal records. So all this alleged stuff that took place down in Tampa, involving a house that was being rented by Terrion Arnold, and arrests and guns and kidnapping. And this is Terrion's cousin, and this is Terrion's security detail. None of that is reportedly true. But again, this is what happens, all right? A TV station reports down in Tampa that this is what they've heard from sources or assailants or whatever it was, and it's Terrion Arnold's name is in the news. Kidnapping, guns, all this stuff. And, this is his security. And it's a bad look for a few hours until, detectives and others come forward and say, no, this is not true. He's neither of these men that were arrested or had any connection to Terrion at all. But wanted to clear it up. Again, John Macaroon put this out on Lions on SI that basically representative for Arnold basically clarifies that he has nothing to do with any of this. And this is not his cousin, nor it is any of his security guys. But these stories pop up from time to time, man, with these athletes. And a lot of times people like, not necessarily me, because I've been a reporter and a journalist before, and I like to get the full-on story before I jump to conclusions about it, right? But a lot of times these stories come right out. And they're like, oh, that's his cousin. Oh, that's this. Remember the Jameson Williams gun story. All these things that sometimes we jump at. This one, I wanted to wait until, because I saw this yesterday, but wanted to wait till today to see if there was anything new. And there was, but there was clarification that Terrion and his people had nothing to do with any of this. So we hope Terrion gets well and gets healthy and gets ready for OTAs and mini camps and training camps this year, because the Lions need him in a big way. And it's a big year for him coming up. And it's a big year for Ennis Rakestraw too, for both of those guys in that Lions secondary. All right, tomorrow, Detroit Football Network's own Lions beat writer and legend and chef, Justin Rogers, is going to join us. We'll get his thoughts on the Combine, which starts next week, and everything else that has happened this offseason. If you're not following Justin or a subscriber to Detroit Football Network, it's amazing. I am, and Justin does a great, great job. Hit him up and subscribe at jrogers at detroitfootball.net, or just go to detroitfootball.net. We will have him on tomorrow. Thanks for making us your first listen, everybody. Checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. If you're not on the Everydayer Club, please join us there as well. We're back with JR tomorrow here on the show.